Hi, this is Michele with the Worldwide Good News, and I'm excited to be here today with Kreg Wiess. Am I saying your last name correct, Kreg?
Kreg Wiess.
Wiess? Okay, great. I'm coming to you from my home in Vancouver, and Kreg is in Montreal, and we're doing this through Skype, which is super cool. I love Skype. And Kreg is the co-founder of My Yoga Online, and I'm really excited about My Yoga Online. It was introduced to me by my friend Lori, who's a yoga instructor. When I fell ill recently, I have MS. If you saw my intro video, you'll know that about me. And I was struggling to get to my regular yoga classes, and Laura introduced me to My Yoga Online, and I was a little skeptical at first. There's a lot of cheesy yoga stuff out there, but I was really excited when I first logged on because My Yoga Online is great, and there's a lot to be offered with My Yoga Online, and Kreg was really awesome too. So I want to thank you, Kreg, for offering me the gift of My Yoga Online, and I'm going to let you now introduce what your website has to offer.
My Yoga Online is a streaming video site that produces yoga, meditation, and Pilates practices. We have hundreds of videos that people can practice with. It is a subscription service. And with our program, we also introduce whole health programs where people can customize their practices through an 8-step program. They can customize those 8 steps into days, weeks, months. And included with the video program, we also have a wide selection of articles that cover topics on nutrition, health, green living, all sorts of things, just to encourage people to have a whole health practice.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the benefits of yoga and for people like myself who are living with chronic illness and may have difficulties with disability and doing yoga at home. And maybe if you could talk a little bit about the benefits of that and also the safety factors to take into considerations.
Well, in general, for everyone, there's a simple benefits of increased strength, maintaining or increasing range of motion in the joints, maintaining circulation through the tissues and the organs, better digestion, better sleep, reducing stress, building a connection to body awareness, improving or sustaining balance. It goes really far beyond that. But when we start to move into specific issues for certain people, we always like to address them first, get them just to work with a health professional to make sure that some of the yoga exercises are not contraindicating. For some people, practices are fine, but others, they need just to modify certain poses, certain breathing exercises. And ultimately, once you know these modifications and once you know what you should or should not do, there is really no reason why almost every single person cannot do some form of yoga. And then actually we have a whole section on our site, just workplace wellness flows, where they're just seated exercises. And these are actually really ideal for even beginners or people that may have issues with standing or balance issues. And they're also designed in a way that they are gentle. So it's a great introduction for people that are wanting to first get started with yoga.
Yeah, I know myself, I tend to lean more towards the restorative or the yin classes. And as I was speaking to Kreg before we started recording, and I was telling him how I was talking to my physiotherapist, and she was saying one of the ways to ensure safety would be if you have a friend coming over, might be a great way to spend some time is invite them to do yoga with you. Because I know it can be really isolating if you're sitting at home and you find yourself all of a sudden out of the hospital and you have all these visitors all of a sudden, and now everyone's gone and no one's visiting anymore, and you find yourself being isolated. So I think that's one of the main things is you want to keep your mind and your body active in the best way that you can, because you don't want to isolate yourself and start to get into that that sense of depression that can quite easily, it's a really dark place that can quite easily you can land into. And I know for myself, for a lot of the kind of support groups and, kind of chat things that I've been on for people with MS, it can kind of get dark and depressing. And I'm hoping that through this video, we can inspire people that this is a way that they can kind of connect and maybe, of course, consult with a physician first to make sure this is something safe that they can be doing at home. But this can also be a way that they can be spending time with friends as well.
You had made an interesting point earlier before we started recording, how some people who find out that they have a condition, that they're hesitant on telling people because they don't want this negative, oh, I feel sorry for you kind of approach. And I can really see that inviting someone to say, let's practice yoga together, will allow their friends, their family members to go, they're still mobile, they still can do stuff. I shouldn't feel sorry for this person. I should be there to support them and continue to help them feel empowered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's really important. I think that, and as we were talking about as well, it's important to recognize that, yes, you have a disability or a chronic illness, but, it doesn't necessarily have to have you.
Exactly.
And you can continue on doing the things you love. I, by no means, am a super yoga buff, but it's something I love doing, and it's definitely me time. And the meditation side of things, I know with my physiotherapist, she's really encouraging me to nap. I'm supposed to nap 2 hours a day, and as a busybody, napping doesn't come easily.
Wow, I'm sure most people in the world would love to have someone say you have to.
I think meditation is really important, and some people maybe don't understand a little bit about the benefits of meditation and have preconceived notions as to what that is, and they're stressed even before thinking about entering what that could be for you. So maybe you could talk about the benefits of meditation.
Well, when people come into a yoga class for the first time, they usually have no idea what's going on, but also some preconceived notions of what's going to happen. And the yoga industry, if you want to use the I word in this, usually demonstrates yoga in magazines and other media forms more as a workout. But definitely people do realize that there is something with meditation because they do see people in seated postures. So there's a lot of, I don't really know what I should expect out of this, and I'm used to this Western culture of moving, no pain, no gain, and why should I just sit and just breathe and do nothing? I don't feel anything. And if you go in terms of honoring the yoga practice, the purpose why we're doing all the physical postures is in order to make yourself extremely healthy physically, so that you're able to sit for long periods of time and meditate. And so that's the initial reason why we're doing yoga. But the ultimate motivation behind meditating really overpowers the purpose of why we're doing the postures. Meditating really targets the mind and the nervous system, and so many of health issues actually originate from the nervous system, where stress disturbs our sleep, digestion, is very taxing on the organs, leads for many people weight gain, issues with diabetes, circulatory problems. So to be able just to tap into and understand just the benefits, just go, I'm going to appreciate the health benefits of meditating. Once people understand that, they go, I'm going to meditate. I feel so much better when I'm just calming myself down, giving my brain and nervous system a chance just to move to a different level, clear out the white noise of stress. Then the next level, when we're meditating, and this is an interesting topic because everyone has their own personal approach, I guess you could say, regarding spirituality. And whenever I start to talk about spirituality, I would always immediately say it's not about religion. Mm-hmm. Spirituality encompasses every religion, and meditation can be taken into every single religious practice, if you want to say. we were discussing how when a lot of people start to meditate, they get very frustrated. It's like, I have all these thoughts, my brain is going, and these thoughts keep coming in. When I meditate and sit, shouldn't my brain be silent? And I always tell them, that's the last thing you should try to do, is quiet your mind. The thoughts are meant to be there. Your brain is an organ designed to process thoughts, store information, process feedback coming in. The point of when we first start to meditate is just to sit and understand that when we're meditating and we see those thoughts are just a conversation. That all of a sudden, I am not the thought. The thoughts are just another entity in themselves. And when you can create that dissociation, those thoughts no longer have power over you. So you can sit and have a thought come in. You can just let it kind of just open up like an onion, layers, like, why is a thought there? Does it need to be there? I'm not going to judge the thought. I'm just going to just see that that thought exists. And if you kind of go, well, I'm not associated with that thought. That thought doesn't have power over me. I'm just going to let it just drift away. And then most likely another thought will come in. And then we start, and that is the power of allowing. Allowing and release. I allow the thought to come in. It has no power over me, and I allow it to release. I just let it go. And when we start to get into that process of letting go, releasing, we become so hugely empowered in our lives. I don't need to be angry. I don't need to be sad. I don't need to hold on to the past. I don't have to feel the judgments that are coming at me from people. I am unique. I'm a strong individual. So meditation becomes something very intimate for each person. The practice might be the same. You might be doing the same application, same breathing. You have a teacher that does a certain way of meditating, but we all digest it and process it differently. And that's why I always like to encourage people, really take the time to delve into a meditation practice with your yoga practice, because it just opens up a whole can of worms of joyfulness and self-discovery.
Yeah, I love your explanation of that, Kreg. I think it was awesome, and I think a lot of the times when you are suffering with chronic illness and you kind of processing with new medication or things like that, even if you can give yourself 5 minutes or 10 and build up to 10 minutes and then build up to 20 minutes and you start feeling like that you're achieving something and you're giving yourself that time. I think that's really powerful too, because that sense of achievement is something really powerful as well. And doing that with the guided support is something that I really find helpful. And that's why I really have appreciated your website. And I also think the variety is as well, like different instructors on there, and being able to do that in the comfort of my own bedroom has been really, really helpful. So thank you for that, and having that awesome caliber of instructors on there. I want to just back up just a little bit, because I know that I'm like I said, I've been doing yoga for a while, so I am versed. I do, read some journals and things like that, but a lot of people may not, and they may be watching this video and feel inspired to go to your website and then feel overwhelmed, because what is yin? What is hatha? What is this? What is that? So what advice do you give to someone who first arrives to My Yoga Online, and where do they start? What would you say to them?
The first thing that I would always recommend is take a deep breath and be truthful to yourself. What is your fitness level? What are your goals? What are your intentions when you come in? And once you kind of establish that, you ground yourself. You say, okay, now I'm ready to go into this with some confidence and knowing what I want to get out of this. And then once you know your fitness level, most likely, even if your fitness level is pretty decent, I always recommend you're building a house. You need the foundation set. You can't build a roof without a foundation first. So go in and just browse the beginner yoga videos. We have a section that's just dedicated to beginner yoga. Go through that and actually just preview the videos. One, you'll see kind of the overall concept of what you're doing in a yoga practice. There'll be an initial centering, there'll be a light warm-up, a variety of poses, and then easing down into Shavasana, maybe a little bit of meditation. And you'll see a consistency, but you'll also, from that pattern, you'll kind of just get an understanding of the sequencing of poses. And we always recommend previewing a video beforehand, just so that when the second time it's playing, when you actually participate in it, you'll have a little bit better idea of what's coming up next. You don't need to look every single time at the screen. You can kind of, feel in advance what you're going to be doing. The other thing too is we have a huge variety of teachers, and people will lean towards a preference to certain teachers. So it's good to tap into, try different teachers, get a feel for who you connect with a bit better. And the other thing that I really recommend is reading articles. We have a huge selection of articles on the site. Just kind of go in and understand the breaking down of poses. Why am I doing poses? Why am I meditating? All the different tips. And if you want to take it to one step deeper, we actually have one of our whole health programs, which is free for members, is just a beginner yoga section, which will actually guide you, take you through 8 weeks or 8 days or 8 months, however you want to set up the timeline, and we'll slowly introduce videos that we recommend along with reading material. Outside of the program itself, the number one thing that I always tell people is yoga is not like a traditional exercise where you go into the gym and the trainer says, I want you to feel this tomorrow. I want you to feel a burn. I want you to feel a little bit of stiffness tomorrow. Yoga technically is meant to be done every single day. If you are so sore or fatigued the next day from yoga, you've pushed yourself too far. Yoga is very different from traditional exercise, is that it's going very deep into tissues, connective tissues and joints. So you want to go with a therapeutic attitude. You will see from many of the videos on our program, they look very advanced. Those are things you need to work up to. And I tell a person, if you cannot do a yoga practice with control, with complete fluidity breath and a sense of meditating, the practice is too advanced for you. You need to step back to a practice where you feel very in control. Go slowly, let your body respond, give yourself rest breaks, but always coming back to that intention of quality. And what I usually do when I'm teaching and in my personal practice, I take the first few minutes, several minutes, just to stop, to breathe and say, what I did yesterday, what I could do yesterday has no importance now. It's about this practice right now. What is my body asking me of this moment? Because I may have been able to do the splits yesterday, but I woke up this morning and today I'm stiff as can be, and there's no way I'm going to get into the splits. But if I have the ego coming into play, said yesterday I could do the splits, so I sure am going to do the splits today. The ego will take me into injury, and it's absolutely pointless. So it's just going day by day, listening to the body's needs and not to the mind and to the ego.
Yeah, I think that's really important too. That's a really great message, as well as for people who are at home that do have a chronic illness or a disability, because your body changes dramatically every day. One day, I know with myself, one day I'm like, today I'm walking pretty good today. Pretty good compared to yesterday, but I don't know what tomorrow will bring at all. So you have to have a lot of patience. And if you let your ego get in the way, I know that I will definitely hurt myself. So having that patience and not letting my ego drive me is really important, and just letting myself.
And it's interesting when you hear yogis talk about ego. It's not the vanity ego. It's the ego is an entity of being where you're living in the past, living in the future, living with jealousy, living with judgments, and it's this heaviness where the majority of people live in misery. They don't live in the state of their own uniqueness, and just to pause the moment and say, look at the abundance of what I have right now. Just let it come out. Let go of other people, let go of thoughts, let go of attachments. No past, no future, just no expectations right now. And that's the tool of yoga and meditation, is to just release, let the questions bubble to the surface, then let the questions go. And just to let that sense of allowing and allow our ability to become detached really opens up how we can experience the now.
Yeah, thanks, Kreg. I love that. That's great. I just also wanted to touch on the community that seems to be taking place on My Yoga Online. I really like the ability to leave comments on the videos. I started myself leaving comments on the videos after I've done them. I've been leaving comments about the ability factor. So if I think that the video is really great for someone like myself who has limited abilities, I've been leaving 5 stars for that, and letting people know that this is great if you need to do adaptive practice. So people can look out for my comments. So I like that. I really like that element. So thanks for building that in. But you also were mentioning that there's movement forward for other forms of community development with My Yoga Online. So I'd like to hear a little bit more about that.
We find that interacting with our members helps us grow, both as the business and as teachers ourselves. When I was teaching, it was very important that I always asked students at the end of class to give feedback. We're there for them. And so by having this comment section and review section allows people just to offer their insights, and it helps us develop further film productions and whatnot. One aspect to the program, and this is actually free for anyone who wants to come to our program, is they can sign up for free registration, and they can actually have a personal diary on our site where they can just put their thoughts, and it can be public or private, and they can upload their pictures. I know a lot of people are using this as a goal-setting tool, allowing them, depending on what their goals. Some people have, for instance, for New Year's resolutions, they would set out their diet every day, and they would just start to record their diet. Or some people were using it for sleep. How was my sleep today? And they would just track it and say, okay, I ate this today, and I stopped watching TV at this time, and I stopped drinking caffeine and whatnot. How did it affect my sleep? So they use this as just a recording tool.
Okay.
And so it's a really nice new feature that we wanted to add. And with that, people can use that system as well to track their progress with the videos. And within that, people can record their favorite videos and then comment on those videos, again, public or private, to help them just to kind of, keep them on track of where they want to go with their practice, what videos they want to continue using, which teachers they want to continue exploring. Now, as we've been building up that, we are seeing that it would be a nice complement to actually allow our members to start interacting with each other, because it is a wonderful community of like-minded people. So eventually down the road, we will be introducing a new feature where people can follow each other's diaries.
Okay, that's cool.
If people are having public diaries, because it's almost like a blog that they can set up on the site. And so you can follow people that you find interesting or you connect with, and eventually that will maybe work its way into an actual interaction community.
Well, I really want to thank you, Kreg, for so many things, for the gift, for meeting with me today, for this awesome website. I mean, it's great, and I really like the work that you're doing. So thanks so much. And thanks, Lori, for introducing us. I know you're going to watch this. And this was Michele with Worldwide Good News.